All right. What's up, YouTube and Twitch? Guess we're a couple weeks too late, but we're gonna talk about E3 for a little while. I'm gonna play a little bit of Call of Duty, Prop Hunt, and maybe some Dying Light while we're doing it. But yeah, it's been a while since we talked, so I'm sure you've been playing a bunch of stuff. I have since. Oh yeah. Our fucking gamer tags are in the description, but yeah, I'm Hugo Stiglitz. My PSN is Hugo Stiglitz 420 underscore 420. And if you want anything else, just look in the description. Same for Brian. But yeah, we want to say what's up, Brian?
Yep, I am Brian. I am Cloudstripe768. Friend code is a bunch of gibberish.
Yeah, 12 numbers. But yeah, so lately I've been playing a lot of stuff, so I won't go over like every little thing. But obviously Gran Turismo Sport a lot still. Days Gone, I at least made it to the credits of that game, but there's still like some stuff to do after, so I'm not totally done with that, but at least I made it to the credits. Okay, what else? Oh, Just Cause 4. I got that, started playing it. Fucking I've been playing the Uncharted collection, some Firewall, and I've been playing a little bit of Apex, Battlefield 4, and A Way Out with Christine. Also, for that, we played some, I don't know, Mario Kart, Splatoon, that shit. And on Switch, though, most of what I've been playing personally is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm getting further in the game and still love it. But yeah, I think I have like 3 chapters left, maybe. But yeah, no, I've made it pretty far in the game, and I'm like, I don't know, 50 hours deep at least. But yeah, so maybe someday we can, once I finish that, we can have a podcast or something about that game. But yeah, we'll see. But what have you been playing lately? I mean, I'm sure it's not, you haven't been playing any Final Fantasy IV. No way that's possible. Right? 14,
Final
I mean?
Fantasy.
14, yeah. Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say Final Fantasy 4. No, I haven't. Weird number guess.
No, 14.
But,
It's not like they put out an expansion lately or anything, so there's no way you'd be playing 14.
They did in fact put out the expansion. Yeah, I haven't unfortunately been playing, despite it being over a month since we last talked and podcasted and played anything. I really haven't been playing too much.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, on PS4, yes, I have been playing a substantial amount of Final Fantasy 14. Not so much in the last couple weeks though, because my wife was deployed for 6 weeks, so the last couple weeks have been kind of hectic and just been playing whatever I can with kids around while I had the chance. I was able to play some Final Fantasy 14, get some shit accomplished in that game, but with the expansion, despite it coming out a couple days ago, I really haven't played too much of it, unfortunately. A little bit though. I was playing a good amount of Days Gone myself. I was trying to power through and finish it before the expansion came out, but didn't quite get there. But I'm getting pretty close. I'm right around the point now that you said you were at a week or two ago, when you said you're like 60 hours deep and you still have a little ways to go.
Yeah.
Where you go to that place that the person used to work at with that person.
You mean the military camp?
No, the old lab.
Oh, Cloverdale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still have a bit to do after that, actually. But yeah, you're towards the end. That's for sure.
And then I didn't want to get too spoilery or anything like that, but then I fought that story horde with the napalm, and
Oh yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Oh, cool. Yes, you're not that far away. But it's still like, yeah, it's a wicked long game. I didn't know it was gonna be like fucking like Horizon length. You know what I mean? Like, 'cause it's not
Yeah.
like an open world RPG, but it takes about as long as one.
And the good news is, despite the beginning was a little it was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie. It was.
Yeah,
It really feels like they took a little too long setting up the world and the story,
yeah.
and then you go through like the first two camps are inconsequential basically, and it's not until you get to
Mhm.
the third camp, which is a little balls deep into the game,
Yeah,
where things finally pick up,
definitely.
and then when you ride south, it picks up even more, and the story gets really good. I'm quite engrossed in the story.
That's what I
I'm
thought
more
too.
surprised. I'm more surprised by it than I thought I would be, especially since the beginning was pretty boring, to be
Yeah,
honest.
like there was really nothing compelling until you got to Iron Mike's camp.
Right.
Um, like even with his fucking wife, like Sarah, like those flashbacks, there's nothing really compelling there. You know what I mean? So it's like, and that was like really the only story that you were getting, other than the fact that he's friends with a bald guy. Like other than that, there really
Right.
wasn't much going on in the story. And also, like, I don't know, it's like you don't have much at the start of the game as far as like weapons, so it's like hard to take down hordes and stuff. And yeah, it took a while before I got into it, for sure. It reminded me sort of Red Dead Redemption, where like it took me a long time to finally get into it, but I did. Not as long though. Like Red Dead took like 30 hours before I was finally
Mm.
enjoying myself, and this one at least, I don't know, I think it was like 20 hours or so. It's still too long for it to take to get into a game, but
Right.
yeah, it gets better towards the end. And like the story gets a lot better towards the end, and also the hordes are super fun. Like
Uh,
especially the big one.
some of them, many of them. I,
I love them. Like
well, there are a couple that are a little dumb. I think. Like I recently did one in the story one as part of the story. Um, the story one that I did for the military camp was kind of boring. Um, they give you all this. I mean, I probably just did it wrong because they give you all these options of like running through things and
mhm.
breaking down boxes and doing shit behind you to fuck them up and make it easier for yourself. But
Yeah.
it just turned into a giant kite for me, where I would sprint
Oh
ahead
yeah.
and I would regain focus and I would turn around and shoot a bunch in the head, and then keep sprinting until my focus regenerated, and then turn around and do it again. And
Yeah,
then,
that's pretty much how I did almost all of them.
I
Yeah.
like I like some of the smaller ones where you can hide in some bushes nearby. Like the roaming ones are more fun to me because you can kind of fuck with them a little more versus the ones that are stationary and in caves or something like that. Like
Yeah.
the roaming ones, I could toss a couple of attractor bombs and some Molotovs, and that usually takes out like
A lot of them.
most of them,
The cave
even
ones
before
can
you
be
get the
cool
main
because you
boss.
can set up traps and stuff, and but yeah, no, I even like kiting them. Like I think it's fun. Like the biggest one is really good though. Like that was one of the only ones where I actually took them through like a path and wasn't just kiting them further and further away. Although the problem with doing that is just going further and further away from where they came is they won't all follow you. Like eventually some will break off and then you'll have to make your way. Oh, and the other problem with it is having to collect all the damn ears, you know?
Yeah,
But yeah, I still really like the hordes. It's a pretty unique thing as
yeah,
far
they're
as I know, and
different.
yeah, definitely.
It's definitely when you're fighting a few of them, it's not a big deal at all. When you're fighting like 6 of them, then it gets a little trickier because they start to. I mean, they're called swarmers, so they're true to their
Mm-hmm.
name. They kind of swarm you a little bit, and it's a
Yeah.
little more difficult to handle them. If especially if you go melee or something like that. But yeah, when you have like hundreds of them running after you, it gets intense. Especially the first couple that you fight. Once you have better equipment and more stuff to throw at them, literally and figuratively, and better guns, then it gets a little less exciting, but still cool. It's fun, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's better than I thought. So is that all you've been playing?
I've also been playing a little Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, the Metroidvania that
Oh
Iga
yeah.
recently put out.
Cool.
That's on PS4. On Switch, I haven't been playing too much either. I picked up Cadence of Hyrule, the Crypt of the Necrodancer Zelda spin-off game, and it's fun. It's interesting, and the music it rocks, so that's great.
Nice.
I picked up Final Fantasy X-10-2 because it was on sale a few weeks on Switch, and I've been playing a little bit through that. And the big one that I've been playing for the last week has been Mario Maker. That's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Mario Maker 2 is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Really awesome.
Nice. Cool. Well, yeah, like the title says, we're gonna talk about E3. Fucking, I guess we'll just start. We'll go chronological, sort of, at least as far as like the different conferences. But yeah, no, EA did their thing, and like usual, it was the low light of E3 probably. But what that Star Wars game looks pretty fucking cool.
I didn't see anything from. I think I saw the gameplay from Star Wars, but I just should.
I didn't even watch all of the gameplay, but what I did see looked pretty cool. It's like, I don't know, a little bit like Force Unleashed, but like the gameplay looked better. And I don't know, some people were like comparing it to Uncharted, which I don't understand. Like, just because it's third person and there's climbing, it's Uncharted. Also, people were comparing it to Shadow of the Colossus just because at one point you climb like an Imperial Walker. It's like, I feel like sometimes people just throw out comparisons, like if anything's vaguely similar to something, they just say, "Oh, it's like Shadow of the," you know what I mean? Like some people make these like loose comparisons that I don't think always fits. But it looks like a good game. Like I'm interested to see if it turns out great. But yeah, I guess that was like really the only highlight that E3 showed. Other than they showed some like DLC stuff for other games like Battlefield. They showed Madden, and then also Apex Season 2, I guess. But otherwise, yeah, EA is like usual, like boring.
I didn't bother even watching. Or
I didn't
watching,
watch
like,
it
a
either. I
highlight.
just watched like clips, and well, and I'm looking at like a list of the stuff. So that's the only reason I knew the rest of the stuff. But I did watch a little bit of the Star Wars thing. It looks cool. But I guess we can just skip ahead to Xbox. That I did watch, and there was some cool stuff, but I felt like, especially with Sony not being there, they had an opportunity to like really, you know, stick it to Sony and steal all the attention, and they really didn't do that at all, in my opinion. Like, they had a couple cool things, but they somehow made me less excited for Gears of War 5 with what they showed.
They didn't show anything.
Yeah, they showed some stupid trailer of like the girl's face, which apparently you're playing as a girl this time, and they're also not calling it Gears of War anymore. They're calling it Gears 5, which is strange.
And then they showed a trailer for a runaway mode without actually showing gameplay of it. And it's a game that comes out in September. That was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird that they showed absolutely no gameplay of a game that comes out in a couple months.
I forget who else did that. I think someone else was like, or just showing very little of a game that's coming out soon. But, yeah, no, it, like, also, it, like, Gears of War 4 was cool, but I'm just not, like, so sure about it like that. But, yeah, that trailer, like, literally took down some of my excitement, because I did like Gears 4, but it's like, if that's all you're gonna show is just a picture of the main character's face, like, doing weird stuff with some shit music in the background, I'm just not sure why, like, that just makes me less excited, because it's like, that's what you choose to present? That just doesn't say much about the game itself to me. But,
It was Billie Eilish. That's what all the kids are listening to these days.
yeah, it sounded like trash.
I only know that because that's what my wife has been listening to the last couple of weeks, or the last few weeks before she left.
I'm sorry to hear
I was
that.
listening to a lot of it in the car. Yeah.
Also they showed
zoned out most of it.
Halo Infinite, but they only showed a cutscene.
Yep. Game that's not even coming out until next holiday.
Yep. Though it is pretty cool that it's launching with Xbox 2. I think that's interesting. Because even though the last few Halos have been terrible, according to pretty much everyone I've talked to, people are still excited for Infinite.
Well, people like the gameplay of Halo 5 is pretty good. It's just the story and the squad-based story campaign was weird. And the fact that it, was like 50... You don't play as Chief the whole time.
Huh.
Which is weird, because it's a Halo game. And it's like a main Halo number game. Halo Reach, you didn't. And Halo ODST, you didn't. But, those are, spin-off Halo titles. Obviously, since they're not numbered, so it isn't shocking that they starred different players. But, yeah. We'll see. Halo.
Yeah, I heard people also hated the multiplayer too. But like, yeah, the gameplay did seem good to me, but I didn't
multiplayer
play
5
much
is
of
okay.
them, so yeah, maybe not to like hardcore old school Halo fans, like.
Yeah, probably not.
Most people aren't, I guess. I don't know, fucking, like, I like the campaigns and the Bungie ones, but I haven't played the new ones, and I hope they're not as bad as everyone says, basically. But, yeah, okay, so they showed a Minecraft game that looks a lot like Diablo. It's a little strange, but could be cool, I guess, if you like that sort of thing. Now, they showed Elden Ring, which is like the Game of Thrones author making, like, doing something with From Software, who makes all the Dark Souls stuff. So, it's a cryptic trailer that really doesn't show much about the game, except that it's a From Software game, so it's like, yeah, it's weird, but most people like those games, so it'll probably be good, I guess.
They also
Or not most people like those games, but they're pretty well liked, like all the From Software games.
They also showed a new Tales game, but unfortunately, all of Bandai Namco's games were leaked the day before, so we knew about the From Software game with George R.R. Martin. We knew about Tales of Arise. We knew about a lot of stuff that were probably going to be cool surprises during the Xbox show, but ended up just being, oh, okay. We heard about this yesterday.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah, leaks suck.
I understand why people want to report on that shit, but once it's reported, it's everywhere and it blows up and it's impossible to avoid. and that's a problem
Yeah.
for people. I don't care about leaks. I would rather just watch it in person. So I mean, I guess I was less excited about Microsoft in general, so I don't care as much. But
Yeah.
leaks fucking blow.
Yeah, no, they definitely do. But yeah, what's up, Christine? But one of the cool things and like one of the highlights was what's his name? Keanu showed up. And it was breathtaking.
You're breathtaking.
There you go.
I'm in on the memes.
Nice.
I'm not that old just yet.
Memes. Oh no.
I call them memes just to piss off my wife.
Nice. But yeah, no, Cyberpunk looks interesting, although like I'm still not sure why it has like such an insane level of hype, but I felt the same way about Witcher 3. Not to a little bit of foreshadowing there, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think about Cyberpunk?
I don't know what it is yet, is the thing. We've seen cinematic trailers, we haven't seen gameplay. So I feel like it's going to be Witcher 3 with guns.
Yeah, first person. It's kind of like Deus Ex mashed with Witcher 3, I think it's going to be. But they did show gameplay. Like, I saw like a pretty lengthy gameplay trailer.
Oh,
and that wasn't even from E3. I think that was from like last year.
Well, whatever it is, I'm not sure about it yet. I haven't seen any gameplay, so I would need to see gameplay before I pass judgment on it. But
yeah.
CD Projekt Red does good stuff, so I'm not super hyped about it like everyone is, but I'm interested enough to keep my ears to the ground. It's just it comes out in March of next year or April or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
And all of a sudden, March 2019 is really fucking busy.
Yeah, it is. It's odd, but it's like almost more busy than this fall, actually. But
it's absolutely more busy than the fall because new consoles are coming out next holiday, most likely. So people are trying to get their PS4 and Xbox One games out the door before that happens.
Yeah.
And then probably double dip and try to...
Let's do this.
Actually, I don't even know if they would double dip because the new consoles should be backwards compatible.
Yeah, you can just play them. So, like, I don't know. They might just release, like, patches for the next-gen consoles so that they'll basically be PS5 games.
I hope. But that was a cool moment with Keanu showing up.
Yeah.
The game itself, like I said, I'm indifferent about it at the moment.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it's like I'm like kind of indifferent to any game like that. Like I felt like The Witcher 3 there was just too much in it. Like there is such thing as too much content. Like, and I don't know. Like I'm getting like a little sick of open world games too. That's another issue.
Yeah, I've been feeling open world fatigue for a while.
Yeah, definitely.
As I play Days Gone MMOs.
I know. Yeah, as I play Xenoblade, which has an insane amount of content, but it's just it's like presented in a different way, and it's so fast paced as far as like the main campaign that I can't complain at all, despite it being like an 80-hour game. It's an exception to the rule as far as me not liking games that are too long. But yeah, they also showed another long ass RPG. I gotta assume which the Outer Worlds.
Oh yeah, I'm fairly excited for it.
I'm not, just because I hated Fallout New Vegas, but the trailer did look pretty good. Like they definitely did a good job on the trailer.
Let's do this.
Yeah, I really liked Fallout New Vegas. I like Obsidian, and it's the last Obsidian game that's going to be on a PlayStation console. So
Yeah, that's true.
So it's
Very
going to
true.
be. I liked the premise of it from the get-go. You know, I like Obsidian RPGs in general. I like the setting. It feels kind of Borderlands-y to me,
It even looks kind of Borderlands-y a little bit.
but with just more, but with, you know,
More
the
RPG.
ability to, yeah, and story choices and consequences and stuff like that, like Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
I liked how I don't know. New Vegas is one of those games where you either like it or you don't. I feel like, and I happen to like it. I liked how you make this one decision and it just drastically affects something down the line. I found that kind of cool, even if it
No, a
wasn't
lot of
exactly
people
what I wanted.
love New Vegas. I just hated it and couldn't get into it. It almost killed Fallout for me, like, because that was the first Fallout I tried, and I like almost never gained any interest in the series until like Fallout 4 somehow made me interested, and I liked it. I've also played a tiny bit of Fallout 3, and that one seemed really cool to me too. So I get
3 is
like I tend to
arguably the
blame
highlight.
New Vegas for me almost not wanting to play Fallout.
3 is arguably the highlight of the series.
Yeah, I think a lot of people agree with that, but yeah, you'd be surprised the amount of support there is for New Vegas too. Like a lot of people love that one.
It's Fallout 3 just much more obtuse in how
Yeah,
the
that
game
was
is out in front of you.
probably my issue with it. It definitely seemed very obtuse, and also the gameplay didn't seem too amazing either. I guess just mechanically it didn't feel great, although I was playing it on PC with keyboard and mouse, to be fair, so
Mission accomplished.
that might be part of the reason. But anyways, I guess is there anything else from Microsoft? I mean, Xbox you wanted to talk about, or I can't really remember much else.
Well, they're doubling down on Xbox Game Pass
Yeah.
and announced it for PC. Bunch of random games they announced and some expansions. Forza Horizon 4's Lego expansion. It makes me want to buy Forza Horizon just to play it. I'm not gonna fucking lie.
Yeah, they
I was
had your Lego in there, the McLaren Senna.
Yeah, I have that exact Lego set.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a couple of Speed Champions
That's cool.
Lego sets, and that's what they're basing it on, is the Speed Champions line in Lego.
Yeah, I
got
just
more
love the
excited for
regular
that than I
car.
should have.
Like that's my dream car, the McLaren Senna. I would love if they would add that to GT Sport, but they haven't yet. I don't know if they ever will, but yeah, no, I love that car. And it's named after like one of my favorite athletes in any sport. Although some people don't call racing drivers athletes, but some of them, especially F1 drivers, are actually in incredible shape. But yeah, no, he was the greatest of all time, Senna. That's why they named a car after him. And in my opinion, McLaren's best car, at least as far as their new ones. A lot of people like the F1 from back in the day, but I digress. Yeah, Game Pass. That's the thing. But despite a lot of people speculating it is not coming to Nintendo Switch or the xCloud, they didn't announce anything like that. We'll still have to see in the future, but some people were expecting that, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, they also bought Double Fine, which is
Oh
weird.
yeah, that is weird. Because their games totally don't fit in on Xbox, but I would have said the same thing about a lot of the companies Microsoft has been buying lately.
Take your prisoners, comrade.
And in the past, including Remedy. Which is probably why Microsoft let them go. It's because
I don't think they ever.
their games
I don't
never
think they
did
ever
well.
bought it. They just
Oh, that's
published
true.
a bunch of
Yeah.
Remedy games.
Yeah, they
And then
did
Remedy-
exclusive games.
Remedy got the rights to all their games back recently, so that's why people are speculating we might get
yeah,
Alan
that's
Wake
right.
on PlayStation.
Just heard that the other day. Yeah, because I've always felt like Remedy's games would fit in perfectly on PlayStation. So it was always
Well,
weird to me that
that's-
Xbox had it as a exclusive, but
That's where Max Payne was born.
yeah.
They also announced a new fancy, expensive-ass controller
We've taken the lead.
Oh
with
yeah,
some new
looks cool.
fancier options. Looks cool, but
I
I'm not
wish-
spending $200 on a controller.
Oh, it's $200 now. Shit.
It's like 180 or something.
Wow. I wish PlayStation would do something like that. But we'll see. But yeah, no, $180 is kind of a lot for a controller. Especially because I don't know how good their warranty is, but it's like I would especially not want to spend $180 on a controller that might not last me through the whole console generation, you know what I mean? Because I haven't had one controller last me that long. Most of them die or just start having problems like within a couple of years, so like I'm gonna spend $200. I would hope that it would at least last me till PS6 or whatever. 5
good
years
news
or
is
something.
The good news is it does appear like it'll be compatible with Xbox Scarlet.
Oh,
so
it better
at-
be.
so there's at least that.
Better be.
And the only other really cool thing I took away from Microsoft this year was that the new Ori game is going to come out on February 11th next year, which is weird because they announced it like 2 years ago or something like that. It just seems to be taking forever to come out. And as beautiful and awesome as the first one is, to me it doesn't. I wonder what happened to make the game take that much longer than it probably should have to come out. I don't know.
Huh. Yeah. So sometimes that sort of thing happens and it sucks, but it is what it is. And it seems like it's happening to The Last of Us Part 2. Which it probably isn't even going to come out this year. Somehow.
Time is running out.
Which seems odd considering how fast they did Uncharted 4 despite having to redo the game pretty much a year into development. And supposedly it's their hardest game to ever develop according to Naughty Dog. Yet it still was developed much more quickly than The Last of Us Part 2. It's strange.
Yeah, I couldn't
But
tell
it
you.
better be good. Better be good. But yeah, I guess we'll move on to Bethesda, which for me was I loved the conference just because it had my highlight at E3, which is Doom Eternal, but also had some other cool games as well. I guess we'll talk about some of the other ones, but Tango Gameworks, who made The Evil Within 1 and 2, is making a kind of strange looking game called Ghostwire Tokyo, but it looked pretty cool to me. I don't know if you caught
Yeah.
Bethesda's conference.
I did. It was.
Switching sides.
Yeah, it was solid. I mean, I feel like to me personally, the conferences just got progressively better as E3 went on. So EA is
Yeah.
forgettable. Microsoft's was okay, which was kind of weird considering Sony wasn't there, so it was theirs
Yeah.
to lose, and they lost. Bethesda's was pretty good. Yeah, Ghostwire Tokyo was a huge surprise. There were rumors of Tango being there and something Evil Within maybe being there, but I don't even know what this is. It doesn't seem like a horror game. It looks like a
Yeah,
like a mystery game or something like that.
yeah, it's real confusing, like what that could actually be. Like I'm really unsure about what it is, but
I'm
looks cool.
intrigued. Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm also intrigued by Deathloop.
Yeah, yeah, that was the next one I was gonna mention. That looks fucking sick.
That was totally out of left field, and it looks really interesting and seems interesting, and I'm not sure what's going on, but I want to know more. It's always good.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, it definitely looks like a cool game and an interesting idea. Like, I forget exactly how it works. Do you remember? Oh, no, I'll Google it. But
Based
it
on the-
looked like a really interesting idea, but obviously
Based
it
on the
involves a
trailer.
death loop somehow, but I forget exactly.
Based on the trailer, one person is trying to help people, and then the other one is an assassin trying to kill the first person. And the black dude is all about trying to avoid the assassin while doing his thing, and the assassin's all about trying to kill the black dude, and then they get into fights and kill each other, and then they wake up and start over.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of like a Groundhog Day type thing.
Yeah.
Where like the day repeats, and like I guess like you change what you do each time, and like maybe the situations will be different every time too, I gotta assume. But it looks like something pretty unique and could be really cool. Hopefully it's not like a shallow premise that gets boring quickly, but it definitely looks like a unique idea.
I like Arcane. Arcane, I feel, does good stuff, so
Yeah.
I am cautiously optimistic.
Yeah,
what they do,
most people definitely like their games, so.
Dishonored and Prey are both pretty damn good games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they can pull it off, but also they surprisingly made Fallout 76 look a little better.
Time is running out.
Well, they made a big deal about the fact that NPCs are going to be there.
Yeah, also they added some other stuff, I think. But yeah, at
Battle
least
Royale.
they're like trying to improve it, unlike EA, who's pretty much giving up on Anthem or whatever. It's like I think Bethesda's more trying to go the No Man's Sky route than the Anthem route, which just give up on a game a couple months after release. But
Yeah, I mean, Anthem is a new IP, and Fallout 76 is based on Bethesda's like one of Bethesda's bread and butters.
yeah,
You know, Bethesda Studios is Fallout and Elder Scrolls, so they can't really fuck up one of those games.
Yeah.
They can't.
it actually sold pretty well despite, you know, all the hate and people flipping out in GameStop over it. I don't know if you saw that video, but it's pretty funny.
Someone freaking out at a GameStop employee because they couldn't return it or something.
Yep. Yeah, he couldn't return Fallout 76, couldn't get cash or whatever, so yeah, he fucking got wicked pissed and then kicked over one of the displays. So there's always some fun clips from people freaking out in GameStop. It is, ma'am. Quite obviously, I am a woman. But, alright. Macho Man, Tranny Savage. But, yeah, yeah, obviously the highlight for me was Doom Eternal. Like, the game just keeps looking better and better. Like, I noticed shit in the trailer that was quite interesting. Like, it seems like the game's gonna be going to some really interesting places, including not just hell, but, yeah, like Earth, Phobos, Mars, and some other places. But, yeah, no, the game looks fucking badass, and I also loved how they showed some, like, first-person platforming. because I love first-person platformers, obviously, but I also liked the little bits of that sort of stuff in the 2016 Doom. Although it was really that one level, Argent Tower, but it's still fun. So I'm glad they're gonna do more.
Yeah. I mean, there was a bunch of platforming to get all of the secrets and stuff.
Yeah.
Most of it was optional, so most people kind of glossed over it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was pretty solid for what it was.
Definitely. Like, and I've listened to some interviews with Hugo and Marty, like talking about the game, and like they actually was saying that like some of the coolest moments like isn't even the combat. Like, there's like a lot of stuff in the game besides just the shooting, and obviously the combat itself looks spectacular. It's also supposed to be like a little bit more difficult than the last one, or at least like at first. Like there's some challenge to it, which I love. Like, I like playing Doom on Nightmare now, not Ultra Nightmare, because I really don't like the idea of dying and then after restarting the entire game. But a lot of stuff that sounds great about the game, and the fucking collector's edition looks cool as shit, which is why I bought one, pre-ordered one, I mean.
Switching sides.
But yeah, what do you think of the multiplayer mode?
In Doom Eternal?
Yeah. Did you see it? It was like the
Demons
Doomslayer versus two demons.
I vaguely remember that. I am not really interested in the multiplayer, so I kind of ignored that part. But seems like what Doom should have been. Doom multiplayer should be, instead of what was it on the previous Doom? Just regular multiplayer with some occasional demons thrown in as NPCs or something.
The demons were basically power-ups. So it's like they would spawn, and there was even BFGs as power-ups on the map that would spawn occasionally. It's actually not that bad of a multiplayer. Like, I've played it. It's not the best, like, but it is actually pretty cool in some ways. Like, the other day I was playing a mode that I actually had a lot of fun with. Yeah, it wasn't super popular, and it was made by another company, and this time id Software wanted to make it themselves, and they're saying that it's like really, really good. Like, they're having tons of fun playing it themselves. I'm not entirely convinced, just because like I've never played an asymmetrical multiplayer game that was fun. Like, I've never liked any of them, but at the same time they do make a good point, like where like the other multiplayer, you weren't playing as the Doomslayer anymore. You were kind of playing as like a generic soldier, and you just didn't feel the same. Also, the weapons were different. So like the idea that they're trying to make it more like the single player, where you're playing as the Doomslayer, fully kitted out, and you know, fully the ass-kicking version that you know from the campaign, and they've made it interesting somehow with the demon side. Like, who knows, they know how to make really fun games, so it could be awesome, but I'm gonna need a little more convincing just because it's asymmetrical. But yeah, fucking game looks outstanding, and I can't wait to play it. And it's also coming to Switch, although not at the same time as the other consoles, apparently. Or they haven't announced the release date or put up pre-order, so I gotta think it's gonna come out after.
And yeah, it's great though that Bethesda is supporting the Switch as much as it is.
Hell yeah.
Wolfenstein 2 is also coming out to Switch, and
Youngblood.
Elder Scrolls.
You mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
that's what I was just gonna say. I almost forgot about Wolfenstein, but that, yeah, oh yeah, and then Elder Scrolls, what's it called? Blades? Something like
Blades, the mobile game.
Yeah, that looks pretty interesting. I mean, I don't know how good it is because it's a mobile game, but at least it's like a Skyrim-like game. But yeah, no. Also, they did show a little bit of Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot, which is a VR Wolfenstein game. Looks like it could be pretty cool. Like Doom VFR was all right. Like it was cool in terms of the combat, but not much else. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, Wolfenstein Cyber Pilot ends up being better because I love VR games, but we'll have to see on that one. But yeah, it's moving on. Ubisoft showed up. Did some cool stuff.
Off the bat with Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
That looks awesome. If it actually translates fully into what they're saying, how everyone can be recruited, then that would be great. If it's most people who do certain things that you need, that would even be great. If it's, you know, a few important people, then you don't really have too much control over who you recruit, then, you know, I won't care as much, but it'll still be a little disappointing because just the way they hyped it up is everyone is the good guy, the potential good guy.
Yeah, my main concern is I can't imagine how they're gonna tell a good story that way. Like, so, because, like, do they really have, like, millions of lines of dialogue recorded with each NPC? Because it's like, the freedom they make it sound like you have is that, like, potentially you could play as one NPC for, like, the rest of the game. And it's like, how do they work? Which is unlikely, but it's still, like, seems like you could do that, or you could play as a million different NPCs. So how do they connect it in a way that will be good story-wise? To me, it seems like it'll just be kind of like a forgettable story, kind of like Watch Dogs 2, where you never really get to connect to the characters that you're playing as. I mean, hopefully at least, like, I guess the people giving you missions will be good characters, but I get it. Like, it seems to me the idea of having you can play as any NPC means that basically you're gonna have just uninteresting protagonists.
And if so,
the trailer like made it look like it's impossible to do. Like, at least that first character, like, and even the second one, really, like, it seemed like kind of scripted in the way that it, like, they each had like a ton of like, really, like, sensible dialogue for the situation, and it's like, how could they do that for every NPC in the game?
I wonder if you can play as anyone normally, but then certain missions have you play as certain people to do certain things. Because you had, like, the one woman in the beginning who was the assassin, who was just kind of sneaking around and stealth taking out people, and then you had the innocent looking grandma who pulled out the RC car and was doing some shit with that, and then the whole point of the beginning and watching the one dude die was to recruit the drone expert to do something with drones. So maybe you need to do a drone mission and you play as him. I wonder if the story is through a couple of key NPC, key characters, but the open world gameplay is just whoever the hell you want, which might be a little less impactful, but yeah, I don't know how else they could possibly do it, because you can't have, like you said, you can't have millions of lines of dialogue in varying voices and genders and stuff like that for every single character.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's gonna work out story-wise, but at least, like, the idea seems interesting. So hopefully it's a good game, but
In March.
I thought it was a little silly how they said that, oh, we're not gonna, like, put politics in our game, yet it's, like, basically like a kind of a dystopia post-Brexit, that's a political statement, that alone. But I'm glad that they're not gonna do anything else political, at least. Like, I really think people should keep politics out of games and movies, because it just causes arguments between people, and no one, like, wants that. I think very few people want politics in the games, and that's assuming that they'll agree with the politics. You know what I mean? Like, because people want politics in games until it does something they disagree with, you know. But so, like, I don't see why anyone would support the idea, but yeah, no, fuck politics. Let's just keep things interesting and not divisive. But what else did they show? Like, they showed some more Rainbow Six stuff. Which
people hate on games as a service, but I really don't know what's bad about a game that comes out and then it gets supported constantly for like 4 years. Would you rather have that? Would you rather have that or the Call of Duty model, where you get a new one every year and still have to, up until this year, you still have to pay for map packs and bullshit like that?
Definitely Call of Duty. Well, actually, you won't have to pay for map packs anymore on the next one.
Well, that's a fairly recent change. Same thing with Battlefield. That was a fairly recent change.
But no, I'm against always online and games as a service, especially when they're also always online. Like I think games that release content over time are cool, usually. But in general, like, I don't like games that are based around that. Like No Man's Sky wasn't really based as a game as a service. It was just a game that got a ton of content updates. And same with GT Sport. It's not a game as a service. It just has a lot of DLC that they do every month. That's all, for free. But now to me, because the problem I have with a lot of the games of the service is just not interesting games to me, except for Destiny. Like, that's the only Destiny 2, I should say. That's the only one of them that I actually enjoy playing. Like, I feel like the rest of them are kind of designed to just put you on a gameplay loop continuously, and none of them are a fun gameplay loop to me.
Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Yeah, no. Like, with that one can be played totally solo offline, so I don't even see that as a game as a service. Except for some of the annoying DLCs they did. Like, they did a really cool Predator DLC. And I can't play it because I didn't own the game at the time they released it. So that's another reason I hate games as a service, is they can release cool content that I'll never get to be able to touch. But, yeah, no, in general, I'm not a fan. But yeah, no, the Rainbow Six is that type of game. Ghost Recon Breakpoint is basically a sequel to what the hell was it called again?
Wildlands.
Wildlands, yeah. Which I don't know. Like, I've barely even started Wildlands, so I'm just not like interested in the second one. That's for sure. But
Sorry, I need 1 minute.
That's cool. But yeah, not a fan of all that shit. But I guess there are some people out there that play it. A lot of people still play Rainbow Six Siege and stuff. Unfortunately, people still play Overwatch, although it's dying in popularity because it's a shit game. But yeah. Fucking, what else did they show? They showed some For Honor stuff, some Division 2 stuff. Like, the only thing I like about Rainbow Six Siege is it did inspire a cool VR game, Firewall 0 Hour. Although even that, I have problems with, like, the fact that there's only a Rainbow Six Siege type mode where you have to plant the bomb each round or defend a bomb. And there's no, like, team deathmatch to where you can just play against players and respawn and stuff, like... Because the problem with Firewall is that the lobby matchmaking can sometimes take minutes, and sometimes you get into games, there's lag. Also, post disconnections, like, there's a number of problems with Firewall 0 Hour. Despite it being in a very cool VR game, yeah, there's a lot of issues I don't like about it, but at the same time, it is, like, good that it exists, because it is fun when it's fun. And it's very much inspired by Rainbow Six Siege, which is unrelated. There's no, I think there has been new content for that game, but there's nothing at E3. But let's see, what else at E3 was there that Brian won't want to talk about? I mean, I guess I could skip ahead and talk about Nintendo, because there were some announcements there. Did interest me a bit, but no. Alright, what should I talk about while I'm waiting for him to come back? So yeah, Dying Light 2. Like, I was trying to play Dying Light 1, but it's now giving me some crap about if I play it without updating, that it'll fuck up my game save or something like that. But Dying Light 2 is coming out, and I think they might have talked about that at Square Enix's conference. Let me see, I'm looking. But from what I've seen, Dying Light 2 looks awesome. Like, I love the first game. It's quite interesting because the first game they made was Dead Island, which was for like PS3 and stuff, and I hated it. Like, I could not get into it at all. And it was also a first-person zombie game with a lot of melee combat, like Dying Light, but the difference is Dying Light got the combat a lot better, and especially traversal a million times better in Dying Light 2 because you had parkour, and you even had grappling hooks and stuff, and it was just super fun to play and traverse the open world, which is why I love Dying Light, and I'm excited for Dying Light 2. But I think he's coming back now.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
I think my kid is getting sick.
But yeah, I started to talk about Dying Light 2. But yeah, Ubisoft, they also showed a couple of games like Roller Champions, which looked strange. Like, I don't know if that's gonna catch on, like be the next Rocket League, but it's, I don't know. It's something they showed. But Gods and Monsters, I don't even remember what that was. But I assume it had something to do with Gods and Monsters. Wasn't it that like kind of cartoony looking game? And I think it's also coming to the Switch.
Yeah, it looks cool. I think the premise seems okay. I like the Greek-ish setting, but there's no gameplay. I don't know what the game is.
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. At least it's a Switch game, so hopefully it'll be good, and it'll be another, what the hell is it called again? The Star Fox game that Ubisoft made. Something
Atlas?
Battle for Atlas or whatever. Fuck. Why can't I remember the name of the game?
Oh, I want it on Switch.
What is it? Starfield?
Starlink.
Starlink. Okay, there we go. Starlink Battle for Atlas. Yeah, so hopefully it's like that. Another cool game by Ubisoft that they put out on the Switch. Rather than, I don't know, something that sucks. But we'll see. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for Ubisoft. Now we can get on to Square Enix, which I thought they did really good this year. Final Fantasy VII looks fucking awesome. What do you think?
It looks awesome, but everything about the game is still absolute bullshit to me.
The episodic bullshit?
They're charging $60 and putting 2 Blu-rays worth of content, and the section of a game that took like 4 or 5 hours normally. To me, that just screams bloat. I don't know how they're gonna stretch 4 hours into 60 hours, or 50 hours, or even 40 hours to make it like a legitimate standalone $60 game. Unless they're fucking with us and it's legitimate. It's closer to like the first disc or half the game or something like that. that's a different story. But there's just no fucking way that they're fitting 4 hours of game from the original Final Fantasy and 2 Blu-rays. Something about it just, it's not right, and I can't be excited for it. It looks good, it looks like it plays good, but no one should support what they're doing. People will, of course. People were going fucking crazy for it, and that's the problem. Square Enix knows that they could just milk this shit forever, and you won't have Final Fantasy VII the complete edition until PS6. Because it'll just take forever to come out and be across multiple games, and it's just, I don't like it. I really don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like the fact they're doing it episodic, but I thought at least the gameplay looked really cool.
I mean, yeah, it looks cool, and that's the problem. It has the potential to be a really cool game, but it's 4 hours in one game. That's what they said. It's a Midgard. It's 4 hours of the game.
Huh.
It's less than 10%. It's about 10% of the game, of the total game, if you do everything in Midgard. And that's the first game.
I wonder if they're gonna, like, extend it somehow and, like, add a bunch of stuff.
I just don't know how that is 2 Blu-rays and a whole game on its own for $60. Unless they surprise us and it's really like the first disc or the first half of the game or something like that, but everything they've shown is just Midgard, so I have absolutely no idea.
Yeah, I hope it turns out good. But I thought it looked cool, but I do hate the idea of it being episodic, because it's like, what's going to happen? We're going to get, like, the first part of the game and then have to wait 5 years for the fucking second, and then who knows how many parts they're actually going to do. So it's like, what is it going to be, 10 years before the whole remake is done? Like, I don't know.
No, I'm just... No one should be excited about that. They should be excited about what the game could be, but not excited about the fact that that one game is turning into who knows how many, 5, 6, 7 games at this rate. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, they did show some other stuff, like, I guess Final Fantasy VIII is coming to, what's it called, Switch?
And everywhere, yeah. 7 got the re-release. 9 got the re-release. You know, people were wondering where 8 was, even though it's easily the weakest of the 3. Something about them losing assets a long time ago.
Huh.
I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, they said they lost the original masters, which is, it's kind of funny though, because it's like there are ROMs out there that they could use. Like, they could just download a ROM off the internet, but I don't know how that works legally, so they're like not doing it. But yeah, I did hear something about that. Like, about, I think there were other games where that happened, where they said, oh, we can't remaster it because we don't have the original masters or something.
There was a problem with Kingdom Hearts. One of them.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's not even like an old game either. Like, how do you lose the access to that?
First one came out in 2000. Well, it came out in like 2003, so it's pretty old, I guess, at this point. But it was still a PS2 game. And Square Enix is apparently terrible with that, about losing original assets of games. Weird.
That's funny. I think it might have happened at Capcom too. But yeah, okay, so what were the other things Square Enix did? I don't know what. Oh, Final Fantasy Chronicles is a remaster and The Last Remnant. Yeah,
Chronicles
what do you
is
say about those?
pretty cool. I hope it's a $20 game because it's a GameCube game, so it looks exactly like it did on GameCube. So if
Yeah,
it costs more than $20, then
I saw some of the
which it
prices
will.
for some of their other remasters, and they're pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because like I would consider playing them on the Switch once I get done with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and the Golden Country, which I actually cannot wait to play because it gives like more background. I don't. Have you played that one?
Not yet.
Oh shit. Yeah, it looks really cool. I don't know if you know what it's, but it basically, you know how like it takes place the 500 years in the past before the big
Yep.
whatever cataclysm with the Aegis. So I'm real interested to find out what happened and why Jin turned into a douchebag. Yeah, so that'll be fun. Although that's a much shorter game, apparently. I think that's like 10 or 20 hours instead of 80 or whatever the main game is. But yeah, that'll be fun. But so there's also Oni Naki, which I don't know much about, but it's a JRPG and it's made by the same people as I Am Setsuna, which I've heard is a good game, according
Yeah, that's pretty good.
to Colin Moriarty. But yeah, fucking, what's the other one? Oh, there's this game Outriders, which is like a co-op shooter. It's made by the people who made Bulletstorm, and I don't know, didn't look that interesting to me, but that's pretty common for me with a lot of online games or just like that type of game that people show. Oh yeah, the other one we forgot to mention at Xbox is Ninja Theory's new game, which to me did not look good. I forget what it even was, but do you happen to remember that? Like, 'cause it wasn't on my list of Xbox games, but that was a notable one because it's Ninja Theory, and for some reason they decided to go exclusive after saying that they like being independent.
They were bought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just funny because like last year they literally said, "Oh, we enjoy being independent, this and that. We wouldn't want to be exclusive." And then Microsoft was like, "Hey, we got a lot of cash here," and they're like, "Okay, fuck our principles. We're down. Give us the money."
Yeah. I don't remember what it's called. It just seemed like some hero-based
Yeah,
shooter.
like the trailer like had kind of the annoying cartoonish characters kind of reminded me of Battleborn a bit. Like,
Yeah, I was getting Battleborn Overwatch vibes.
yeah. Although, like, you know, worse, I think.
Alright.
I like Overwatch. I think their character designs are better than the other two that we just mentioned. Like, I don't know. There's something really obnoxious about the Battleborn ones and this game, but I don't know. Who knows? It could be a good game. Ninja Theory makes good games, but yeah, that didn't look good. But yeah, what's up, Alex? But yeah, I guess the best thing I thought fucking Square Enix showed was the Avengers game, which I don't know, some people weren't liking, but I thought it looked cool. I'm also glad that they came right out and said that it's not a game as a service game, because a lot of people got that impression. I didn't. To me, it just looked like a single player game that you could play co-op, I guess, or is it not even that? I'm not sure, but I guess the trailer was a little confusing, because I'm still not even sure what exactly the game is, but they said it's not game as a service, and I'm happy about that.
People are dumb because they're saying it doesn't look like MCU characters, so...
I mean, it sort of does. They look different, but it's like, I mean, are they gonna really just copy the movies straight up? Like, I wouldn't think so, so I don't know.
But, you know, Tony Stark looks like a homeless man and not like Robert Downey Jr. is the problem, and...
But he's being voiced by Nolan North, so who cares?
I don't... That seems to be the biggest complaint people had, was they were expecting more MCU-like characters and they're not, despite the fact that they are sort of similar and, you know, based on the graphical fidelity of PS4, a little more photorealistic than an average superhero game.
Yeah.
Which
I
is
thought
dumb
it looked
because
cool. Like
Spider-Man
it looked like
was
there'll be
its own
some
thing.
cool set pieces and stuff. It actually reminded me a bit of Spider-Man. Yeah, no, I hope it turns out good. I mean, it's like the same people who made the Tomb Raider games, so I feel like they're capable of making something really good. You know, those aren't my favorite, but it's mainly just because of the type of game they are. Like, with all the half-assed open world stuff that I didn't like. I mean, for all I know, this could be linear, or it could just be like a better open world type thing. We'll have to see, but I like those characters. Obviously, I like the movies and stuff, so I hope it ends up being a good game. But a lot of people are hyped for it, so because it's the Avengers, so I'm sure it'll sell good either way.
Yep.
But all right, let's see. I guess we just got a Nintendo now, right?
Saving the best for last.
Yeah. Pretty much. They had
Easily.
a good year.
Nintendo's
But-
always good. You know, they're usually Sony has been the best in recent years, just because of how last year debatable because of the weird show, and they only showed a couple.
Yeah, they only showed like
Showed a
4
bunch of-
games.
They highlighted 4 games and showed a couple here and there between like Control and Resident Evil 2 and stuff like that. But yeah, Nintendo's always the one who everyone's already gone, so expectations are high for Nintendo, and they've been meeting them, even if they're not necessarily blowing everyone out the water. But this year they blew everyone out the water. I mean, it wasn't even fucking close.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
Like,
start with the very, very end. Breath of the Wild is getting a sequel.
yeah, that's crazy. I love that it's a sequel and not just like a straight up new Zelda game. So hopefully they can finish it faster because of that. But
It looks like the same Hyrule
yeah, exactly.
in general, so I
They'll
feel
probably
like
add stuff, but I think
yeah,
general.
bones are there. It shouldn't take as long as Breath of the Wild did to create.
Yeah, I hope
I mean,
so.
that-
And the trailer was like a little weird, a little horror vibe-ish, I guess. I don't know, but like it went sort of backwards and stuff. And showed like Ganon basically, right? So that's now that's gonna work out, but it should be fucking awesome because it's another Zelda game, and I thought Breath of the Wild is like one of the arguably the best Zelda games, so
It's up there, you know.
it'll be fun. But
Arguably one of the other best Zelda games ever was highlighted.
oh, Link's
Link's
Awakening.
Yep, I'm so fucking excited. I'm so happy that it's coming out in September. I thought it was going to be later on in the year, but it's right around the corner.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It's coming out in September, I think, right?
September 20. Yep.
Sweet.
I know you're a little indifferent, but Link's Awakening was one of those first Zelda games that I ever played. I mean, it was Link to the Past. I played the original Legend of Zelda, but I was a little too young to fully understand it. I played Link to the Past, but Link's Awakening, it clicked for me. I played that before I played Ocarina of Time. So Link's Awakening was that first Zelda game for me, and it was just awesome, and it was so much fun. And
Yeah.
the music is great.
It looks cool, and I heard that the story is actually good.
It is.
So that helps.
The music is awesome too. Wow.
But yeah,
I've
it looks
mentioned-
pretty cool. It's like I still wish it wasn't $60, but it's Nintendo, so obviously it's gonna be $60. But yeah, I might buy it if I have the money.
They dropped a big surprise with the whole Zelda dungeon creator in the game.
Oh,
I mean, it's no Mario Maker, but they said if this is met with positive enough reception that they could look into a Zelda Maker, and that would be amazing. Because they simplified it instead of hyper specific things that you could do in Mario Maker. You just drop certain rooms into a dungeon with the puzzles already in place
mm-hmm.
and the enemy placements or something like that. That seems like a pretty good starting point. But
yeah, it's interesting. I usually like it when games have some sort of creation aspect to them. Like the Far Cry series has some really cool stuff like that, and I loved Doom Snap Map, but that's not going to be an Eternal, which is really the most disappointing thing about the game, I think. But yeah, it's sad. I really feel like they could have just like not even done anything to it and just kept it in the game, like, because it was already just so much fun as it is. But yeah, no, I guess they didn't want to spend time on it, unfortunately. But okay. Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah.
Never played one of those games. I heard a lot of people really like them.
They're cool. They're interesting. They're a little different. You know, instead of the normal Mario formula, you're playing Ghostbusters as Luigi, basically.
Huh. Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like. Like he has like a magic flashlight or something, or looks
got a
fucking
flashlight,
cool.
and then he vacuums them up. I played the first one. I haven't played the second one on 3DS, but they're fun. They're fun games. They're interesting. They're different. I like Ghostbusters, so I like Luigi's Mansion.
Do you like the new Ghostbusters with like the girls in it?
I haven't actually seen it yet.
Oh, I hear it was like really bad, but I never really liked Ghostbusters that much to begin with, so I haven't seen it.
I love the original Ghostbusters movies. 1 and 2 are great.
They're alright. Like I watched them when I was a kid. I just never. I don't know, it seems like some people like adore those movies, and I've never really got it, I guess.
That's fair.
But yeah, they're good. They're not bad. Okay. I guess what else? Oh yeah, Dark. No, not Dark. Dragon Quest XI.
Yep.
Are you gonna play that again, or was on PS4? Was that enough?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have time to play games that I haven't played yet. I don't need to rebuy.
True that.
A 60-hour JRPG.
Yeah.
To replay again.
I do that sometimes when I shouldn't, but yeah, no, I hear you on that.
I mean, if no one's played it, then that's great. You know, if you were, for example, if you were interested in Dragon Quest, then sure, get it on Switch. That'd be awesome. It was a great game. But I personally am not going to be getting it again because I have too many things to play.
Yeah, like I'm sort of feeling that way about one of the more interesting announcements on the Switch, for me personally, Alien Isolation. Like, that's out of left field. It didn't really even sell that much on PS4, unfortunately, despite it being, in my opinion, the best horror game ever made. But yeah, fucking, it's coming out on the Switch, which is interesting. Like, I don't know if I wanted to get it or not. Like, even though it's like very fun game, like mechanically, like it's a great stealth game as much as it is a great horror game. But like the thing with horror games on the Switch is like there's, even despite the Switch's screen being very bright, it still can be hard to make out details. Like that's what I've experienced when playing Outlast on the Switch, and that's why I haven't played them a whole lot. is because it's just like, it's kind of difficult. But at the same time, Alien Isolation, they have a lot of button prompts when you're near stuff that you can interact with, so maybe that wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, it's kind of a random announcement, like similar to Assassin's Creed 3. Like, I think a lot of people were like, you know, thinking that that was kind of a random game to put on the Switch, and I agreed, even though I was excited to play it just because it's a game I really like. But Alien Isolation is arguably even more of a random, like, announcement, I'd say.
Left Field Witcher 3.
That one too. And that's another one I like, but for that one, I actually would consider replaying it, just because...
Looks like ass.
What?
It looks like ass.
Yeah, it should too.
I mean, yeah, it's not surprising. It just looks terrible.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm surprised it's even possible, just because didn't even run that great on PS4 or Xbox when it came out, and they certainly fixed it. But it's like, how are they gonna get that game running on the Switch when something like Doom and Wolfenstein, which were, you know, 1080p, 60 frame per second on PS4 and ran really well? And even that is like kind of struggles on Switch. You know what I mean? Like, it runs, but it's very blurry. They also had to cut the frame rate in half, so it's like amazing that they're even gonna attempt to do The Witcher 3 on the Switch. But I hope it works out, because like, The Witcher 3 for me is the type of game I would like to play on a handheld, because it's like, I don't have as much time as far as PS4. There's just so many other games I'd rather play, but on Switch, it's an interesting game because it's a full-ass console game, and that makes it desirable to me. Plus, it's like, there are a ton of things in The Witcher 3 I didn't do. Like, I mainly only played the campaign, the main story. So it would be cool to go back and do some of the side missions, because the side missions were really good in The Witcher 3, I thought. I just didn't play them all because they could go on forever sometimes, and I just wanted to get through the game, so I skipped a lot. But yeah, it's weird that they're even doing it, but yeah, the textures look fucking like not even there. Like, I don't know if that's what you meant by it looking like ass, but that was the main difference.
It looked PS2-like to me, which might be what they just have to do to get...
Maybe some of the objects did, but not overall. It looks actually, overall, it still looks better than a lot of PS3 games, but yeah, no, some of the objects did look like PS2 era, like the rope. I don't know if you saw that bit, but yeah, it was like, instead of an actual like rope coil, it was just like a single object basically. But hey, it's The Witcher 3 on Switch, and that's cool, I guess, because it's a actual full console game that isn't made by Nintendo, which doesn't happen often, so I'm always for that type of thing. Although hopefully the results aren't terrible. But yeah, I mean, that was like some of the more interesting things to me, just because I'm always more interested in that type of game, like a game that was on PS4 or PS3 and is being put on the Switch. Also, Resident Evil 5 and 6 are being put on the Switch, which are, in my opinion, the worst Resident Evil games. Although I haven't played 6 yet, from what I've heard, it's the worst. But I didn't like 5. But yeah, no, they're basically putting like the whole Resident Evil series on the Switch now. But yeah, there was plenty of other stuff that Nintendo was actually making. So I don't know, what was some of the Pokemon?
Pokemon is coming out this fall. There's a bit of a hubbub because they're not including all previous Pokemon like they have been doing.
Yeah.
And people are upset because they can't get their trash bag Pokemon or their ice cream cone Pokemon in the new game. Even though it requires remaking hundreds of sprites over in HD. And they've probably been working on this for 3-ish years, 4 years tops. So people are just complaining. New Pokemon game, they look pretty cool.
Yeah, like I saw some of the like open world stuff, which seemed interesting. I didn't even know it was that type of thing. But yeah, no, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Breath of the Wild, actually, like the look of the world, like the art style, I guess. It's kind of that weird cell shaded type shit.
A little bit, yeah.
But yeah, never played a Pokemon game, but doesn't look too bad.
Bunch of
What
mana
else we
games are
got?
coming. That's
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah. Trials of Mana, the collection
They're
of
straight up.
mana is actually the collection of mana is already released.
Yeah, the collection of mana is a little overpriced, but it's okay. Secret of Mana is great. The other mana game was called the Final Fantasy game is okay. I think it came out on Vita not too a couple years ago. This is more the Game Boy version of it though, which is weird. And then Trials of Mana for the Super Nintendo is finally being released in the West and remade, which is pretty nuts. People have been asking for that for forever. It's like Mother 3, if you know what that is, and how people clamor for that game all the time.
I think I've heard of it, but I know like nothing about it.
Yeah. Other big thing is Banjo-Kazooie is coming to Smash. That's kind of a big deal. They announced the hero from Dragon Quest. They had a couple different heroes, so I don't know how that's going to play up. That's cool. And Banjo-Kazooie, which is a really big deal. People have been wanting that for years, but assumed it would never happen because Banjo was Rare, and Rare is owned by Microsoft now. But Microsoft is buddy-buddy with Nintendo these days.
Yeah, it's weird.
Minecraft Dungeons is coming out to Switch. I don't know if it's coming out to PlayStation, but it's coming out to Switch. Super Lucky's Tale, which is that weird VR game, was on Xbox and now it's coming out to Switch as well. Really fucking weird. So yeah, a lot of weird things going on with Microsoft and Nintendo. But Banjo being in Smash is awesome. And they showed off a bunch of Mario Maker, which already came out, and then Animal Crossing. They showed off some of that and announced the release date for March.
Yeah.
March game.
Yeah, I don't know much about Animal Crossing, but these people are hyped for that. But yeah, like it still surprises me how hyped people are for just characters in Smash Brothers. Like, I'm confused, but I haven't played it, so I don't know. But it just amazes me that like anyone could see that as like the highlight of Nintendo's conference.
Well,
like it's just a character, you know what I mean? Like, but again, I'm like, excuse my ignorance on it. I've just never played the game, so I'm just like, I've never played a fighting game where just a mere character could be that much. Like let's say if Sony announced like a car or track for Gran Turismo Sport, like even something like that, which would excite me, I would never call that like a highlight of. So I don't know. I'm trying to relate it to something that would excite me, but I can't. I guess I'm just lost on this subject. Totally ignorant to it.
I guess the closest thing would be if it's hard to come up with a one-to-one comparison just because of the whole Nintendo, Banjo, Rare, Microsoft situation is fairly unique.
I think that's what makes it interesting, for sure.
But imagine if GoldenEye if there was like GoldenEye remade in Killzone or something like that. If you had a couple characters and maps, and it was GoldenEye 64, but
Or just
in Killzone.
GoldenEye. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's
Like something you really loved from your childhood that you never thought would be possible anymore, but is all of a sudden in the game in a game series you love now.
yeah. I guess I could see it that way. Like, I'm sure they could do some cool stuff that I haven't thought of that would be a little interesting. But yeah, yeah, it's just something that perplexed me a little bit. Like, because it seems like at every Nintendo Direct, people are like going nuts over Smash characters, and it just like, it's always confused me how. Because it's just like, I don't know. I've never played it though, but like the other thing, the fighting games I have played, like I tend to stick to one fighter, and I thought like a lot of people did that with most fighting games. So yeah, it just seems like there's something strange that people get that excited over it, but I guess it's like it's a genre that I don't fuck with, so it's just like a totally different
for the most
thing.
part, but again, imagine a fighting game that you played regularly all of a sudden had this awesome character from your childhood. Of course, you're gonna at least try it out. I mean, the cool thing about Smash is every character plays similarly, but their moveset is similar enough where, if you pick up Link and you play him, you sort of have an idea of how everyone else plays. It's just once you get into the specific character, that's when you get some of the nitty-gritty details down, like where Link has a bow and arrow and bombs and a sword, Snake has grenades and a rocket launcher and uses CQC.
Yeah.
But they play sort of similar regardless. So it's cool to get these interesting characters that you don't expect all of a sudden in the game, like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII was an interesting addition, and he actually plays really fun. He plays just like you would think he would play in the game, but it's Smash Brothers. Joker from Persona plays usually, but feels like Joker from Persona. I mean, you could say that about just about most characters. It's cool that the way they play in Smash, so it's going to be great for people who. I personally don't care about Banjo-Kazooie, so that announcement didn't really mean anything to me, but the fact that he's actually going to be there is really cool, because people have just been wanting him for so long. And I'm of the mind that, it's good in general when people get what they want and what they're excited and happy about.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Definitely cool. Although the highlight for me would probably be like Zelda or something. That's okay. There was a good amount of games. Like, I'm still confused what that Travis No More Heroes game is, or whatever it is, but they talked about that. Do you know anything about those? Or do you play those or anything?
I played the first one. It's a weird game.
It looks pretty weird, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly cool game. It's an action, it's like sword fighting kind of game, but just this crazy dude with a weird looking lightsaber named Travis Touchdown. It's been a long time since I played, but I do remember you saving by taking a shit on a toilet. I'm not joking, that was the save mechanic.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's sick. That's awesome. That's funny. But yeah, also they showed some more Daemon X Machina. That's what it's called, right?
Something like that, yeah. I still don't entirely know what it is.
Yeah, like I've played like a little bit of the demo. It seems pretty cool, but Yeah, I'm not sure what to think. It also seems like it could be pretty difficult too, so that's a little worrying. But oh yeah, they showed some Contra stuff. Like there's a new Contra game or something.
Yeah, there's a new Contra game coming, and they're doing a Contra collection because it's Konami and they don't know how to make new games. They just do collect old games.
Yeah. Yeah, Capcom does that a lot too, it seems. But I guess there's also that Astral Chain game.
I also still don't entirely know what that game is.
Yeah, it looks like it
Seems
could be
more
cool,
like
but I'm not entirely sure.
seems like more of an action game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And then I think they did the highlight reel where, like you said earlier, Nino Kuni is coming, Spyro, of course, is coming. A bunch of other random little games are coming to Switch. And then they showed off a good amount of Fire Emblem.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's one of
maybe
the
a
other
little
ones.
Fire Emblem. I might be thinking about the Treehouse in the days after where they showed off more of it. Down with Fire Emblem, that looks pretty cool. I've always loved Fire Emblem games, and I'm always down for a nice, good tactics game.
Yeah, those are like kind of like hardcore JRPGs, right? Or something like that.
Kind of, yeah.
But yeah.
They're strategy RPGs, tactical RPGs,
Oh, okay. That's right.
where you
Yeah.
move around on a grid and you do certain
Oh
things.
God,
And
yeah.
you have a rock paper scissors kind of battle system going on where certain units are strong against other certain units, and you level up and you have jobs and change and get better jobs, and it's deep, you know. But they've always been pretty good stories, and the tactics. I love tactics games like that.
Yeah. Not my kind of game, but what did look kind of interesting is they're remaking Panzer Dragoon.
Yeah, that was a really weird one.
Yeah.
Not weird as in it's a weird game. It's just weird. It was so out of left field. They haven't made a Panzer Dragoon game in a long time, and they were like exclusive to Microsoft for a very long time. They had one on Xbox, the original, and I feel like they had one or two on Xbox 360, and then the series just stopped for a while. I know there was one
Mhm.
on. Pretty sure there was one on Dreamcast too, because
Yeah, I've
it's
heard of
made
them.
by Sega.
And that was like a Sega Saturn game originally, and like I had a Sega Saturn, but I never heard of it. Like, yeah, I got very few games on the Sega Saturn just because like it didn't have a whole lot when I first had it that I knew of, and then I saw Mario Kart and I was like, okay, I need an N64, and so I just kind of went to that while my Saturn got neglected.
The eyes of the world have been glued.
But it looks kind of cool. It's like a on-rail shooter, I believe, but it's supposed to be really good. But it's like I used to play those. Like I remember on Saturn actually, Virtual Cop, I think it was what it was called. But that was an on-rail shooter, and I played actually a decent amount. Getting it like, I guess it's supposed to be addictive because you try to get a better score by redoing levels and stuff, and that is kind of what I experienced on that game at least. I haven't played too many since, other than some VR on-rail shooters, which were a lot of fun actually. But it's okay. We already mentioned Cadence of Hyrule, and then there's a Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. That seems a little interesting, but I think it's being made by Nintendo, so who knows, it could actually be good.
They've been collaborating for a while. They've done a couple of Olympic games like that. Wouldn't be the first one.
Yeah, like it kind of reminded me of Mario Party, where there's just like a whole bunch of like different types of game stuff you can play, like different types of like gameplay that you can do in it. Although
It's
these will
almost
be
exactly
centered
what it
around
is.
sports, but it reminded me of that type of thing.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. Just with Mario and Sega characters. Like Sonic characters. Knuckles, Tails, Robotnik, etc., etc.
Yeah. But
HUD activated. Commence briefing.
Approaching horizon.
so
Data on the subject.
okay.
Kadir
What do you think
Suleiman.
of that Marvel game, Ultimate Alliance 3: The Black Order?
His brother Hassan died in a disease-related incident
Oh.
before we were able to evacuate him.
Looks okay.
Suleiman blamed the GRE for Hassan's death. He
I think
stole a
I'm not
highly sensitive
in
file
love with
which
it.
became his bargaining chip
Yeah,
against
me
the
neither. I'm
GRE,
kinda
with instructions
confused
to
what type
publicize
of
it
game
if
it is.
anything happened to him.
Have you played
Data
any
on
of the ones in
subject.
the past?
The stolen file.
Jump in 10 seconds.
Played
Details the incomplete process of synthesizing a cure for
a
the
long
virus.
time ago. The
Implemented in its current state, the produced substance may be extremely
some
toxic.
of the first
Also,
and a bunch of the
file
second,
contains full
because
description
it was
of the
based on
virion structure.
Civil War.
Any attempt to use it would result in countless lives lost. It must be recovered.
The one,
Further information.
Yeah.
Current status.
just like the movie
Suleiman
that was
sent
based
file
on
to
the
an
comic
associate
series
unknown
where
to
Captain
us,
America and
with
Iron Man
instructions to publicize it at
are
his
going at
command
it.
at any time. To counter that,
Captain
we
America was
instituted
right.
a citywide communication jam, preventing
But,
him from publicizing the file.
Yes, it
Your
was.
GRE issued
100%.
radio can overcome that jamming.
He's always
Your
right.
lifeline,
But yeah,
not
fucking.
with it.
It is, you know,
Suleiman
like it
has
looks like they
gone
have
underground
a
and
whole
begun using a different
shitload
name.
of characters in
We
it,
have
which is
reason to
interesting.
believe he
Like,
now leads one of the two main
like
factories
pretty much
operating
every
within the
Marvel
city.
character I can think of, and they do kind of look more like the MCU characters than the Avengers game does. I guess I could see why people are a little annoyed with the Avengers games, but I didn't, you know, I kind of get how they're not going to just straight up copy the movies at the same time, so.
I mean, the previous Ultimate Alliance games had X-Men and
I told you that wasn't a normal
the
drop
Avengers
shoot.
and Fantastic Four.
Break his
and,
legs. Then take him to rides.
Back up! All of you!
Stop.
everyone.
Loud noises
I
drawn.
mean, not the most obscure characters in the game, but it had a lot of them. So this looks to be following that.
Cool.
Fall back.
I know one of my friends is really excited for it, but yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for it. Like, could be something I can play because I'm always looking for it on the Switch. But yeah. So like, there were other like kind of ports from PS4 or games that are also coming to PS4. They're going to Switch. You mentioned Minecraft Dungeons earlier, but also Dead by Daylight, which is another one out of left field. I've tried it because it was free on PlayStation Plus. I didn't really like it. Just not my type of game.
Don't even know what it is.
It's like, it's a asymmetrical multiplayer game, and basically, like for example, one of the characters I think is Leatherface from the Chainsaw Massacre or whatever. But yeah, basically they're just like kind of horror movie-esque characters. That is the bad guy, and then there's like 4 survivors. And basically you have to fix generators to open a gate to exit the map and win. It's a really weird concept, but like also the killer can trap you, and then your friends can free you, but they gotta avoid getting caught by the killer. It's weird. It's like an asymmetrical online stealth game, basically. It's, I don't know, not my jam, but some people like it. But also Spyro Reignited is coming out of the Switch, which is pretty cool because that's a good game. I've played the first one in that collection and it was really fun. But yeah, I guess it's I think it was expected because they did put Crash, Insane Trilogy, and the CTR, Crash Team Racing, on Switch, so it makes sense as they would put Spyro as well. But okay, what else? I guess we got, yeah, Ni no Kuni is being remade or remastered and put on PS4, Xbox, and Switch, correct? Is it also on Xbox, or am I wrong about that?
I don't know about Xbox. It's being remastered for PS4 and ported to Switch.
Sweet.
So it'll the Switch version will play like the PS3 version.
That's cool. Because it was originally a PS3 game. Usually, games that were on PS3 and get ported to Switch end up turning out really good, from my experience. Except for Assassin's Creed 3, I guess. But
You're scared.
otherwise,
I
they're
mean,
typically awesome.
Then pinch
It shouldn't be that much of a problem. It wasn't very demanding, and
Yeah,
most of it was about how it looked. And I mean, it
like the
holds
art
up.
style.
Yeah, it still holds up really well. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful game even still today. So
Yeah.
it doesn't really need to do much. But I don't know. I think on the PS4 it'll be like 60 FPS and just run a little smoother and faster with probably better loads. So it's a little disappointing that none of that is, or probably none of that is going to make its way over to the Switch version. But
Yeah.
we'll see. As long as they include all the DLC. Not that there was a substantial amount of it, but there was at least one familiar that you can get that was pretty overpowered. Because the first Nino Kuni is sort of like a Pokemon game where you get monsters and you train them up and they're the ones who fight for you. You don't actually do a whole lot of fighting yourself. I mean, you do, but it's most of the monsters.
Okay, enough joking around.
Yeah, like I played the demo for that, as I've told you before, and said it was a bad
It's a terrible
demo.
demo.
I didn't like it at first because it was very, very difficult. Because I've never played a Japanese RPG before, or turn-based RPG before that. But I did actually make it through the demo, so I might actually try it. Like, especially if I've heard the story's good, which helps a lot. Like I played, Xenoblade as like that's basically my first Japanese RPG, and I'm loving the game. Mostly because I love the story.
We're just getting picked up one by one.
So I'm definitely interested in some more Japanese RPGs if they have a great story like Xenoblade, because yeah, it's just really fun and weird and stuff, and yeah, I'd definitely be down to play more stuff like Xenoblade, so I might give Ni no Kuni a shot. But yeah, I guess the only other thing is like Dauntless. I guess it's a free-to-play Monster Hunter type game. I guess that's coming to the Switch. It's already on PS4. I guess some people apparently like it. But yeah, I'm not sure, but if it's free, I might try it on the Switch, so yeah, fuck it. But that's about it. I think we covered everything else that Nintendo showed in their Direct, really.
So you are not on the list. So go talk to him ASAP and let's get
I
things
think they
moving.
did show a Hollow Knight
If you'll excuse me.
sequel, but I still haven't played the first one, even though I got it very cheap recently, and I probably will play it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I fucking love Hollow Knight. It's
Yeah.
such a good game.
Yeah, I've heard it's really good.
I've put like 40 hours into it on Switch. It's ridiculous. I played through it 1.5 times, so that might help. But it's superb. It is really really good. So
You the boss?
the Silk Knight game just
No,
makes me super excited.
You wanted
Yeah,
to talk to me?
That's better. Do you remember anything? Know what you are?
Yeah,
and they
Yeah, I
should
can
some
see
new
this is
amiibo
Some kind of shelter?
like that
Oh, that's
Link's
cool.
Awakening
Tower.
amiibo.
Brecken and his runners put it all together a couple of months ago, and we've been here ever since.
And you got your Snake amiibo
Hunting airdrops,
amiibo
scavenging,
pre-order.
Yep.
and rescuing people.
Yeah.
And my,
I wanted to
Doom
thank that
Slayer.
girl.
Good.
Pre-ordered.
Because if not for her,
Although
you'd
it's
already
not
be chewing somebody's knee bone.
amiibo, but
Anderson was totally
still looks
crushed,
really
by the
cool.
way. Only thing Jade could salvage was your radio.
Yep, I got all
Great.
those.
So can I get that
Not
back,
Doom
please?
Slayer, but all the amiibo.
Actually, I think I need it more than you do.
Especially that
Believe me,
Zelda one.
pal, that's not the
That's
case.
always nerve-wracking when a Zelda amiibo gets announced because those sell out
Fine.
stupid fast.
You know my runners put their lives in danger for guys like you. So now you take the antizin
Yeah.
for someone else.
Fucking the
You won't
only
even share
thing
here with us.
that was at E3, but I don't think it was
attempt to
shown at
deal
any
with your
conference, which is
bullshit.
strange.
I've lost contact with
But it's
one
one of
our
the
guys
biggest
thanks to the fucked up
franchises
radios we're stuck
in
with.
gaming. Call of Duty.
Do something for me.
I don't think anyone showed
I
it
don't
at
want
their
to see you
conference,
or your precious radio anymore. So go
Um,
be useful somewhere else.
right?
You
Like,
don't just
but
let
it was
lazy
there,
assholes get in the tower.
and
Hey,
I
be
think
fair, I'm
it's
not-
sounding more and more
lazy,
cool because
I'm just-
apparently,
hey.
like, It's kind of like a remake. Captain Price is in it, and supposedly it's gonna be really controversial to the point where I guess like a bunch of like people from IGN made a video talking about it, and like they were basically all triggered and like frightened by like some of the things in it. But it like what it was described as is basically stuff that happens in real war, and you know like fucking, and they were like offended by that or something, which is it's just pretty funny. It's like them going super realistic. I think is actually kind of a cool idea. Like they took some inspiration from the the No Russian mission in Modern Warfare 2, actually. And I don't know, the game sounds cool. Plus it's being made by Infinity War, and I really liked Infinite Warfare, and that's the last game they made. So I'm gonna keep an eye on that one. Actually, looks like it might be really good.
Just because they have a distribution deal with Sony, and they're doing exclusive content, or they have been doing. I don't know if it's still with Modern Warfare, but they have been doing it since Ghosts.
Many people died here.
I think. Maybe. They've been doing it for a while, and Sony wasn't there, so that's probably why that wasn't shown off, because there was no Sony press conference to show off Call of Duty. Because Activision hasn't done a conference in a very long time.
Crane here.
Where were you? We've been waiting for your report.
Yeah,
It's been over
it's
70
it's. I think it's me because I don't know if like they tried to have Xbox show them, but yeah, like you said, if the exclusivity deal might have put a stop to that, I guess. So they didn't even show it there. But it's still weird that one of the biggest franchises in gaming would like not be at E3 despite them putting out a game this year.
Then you'd better get your hands on some Antizin ASAP, hadn't you?
Yeah. I mean, it was, what do you think of E3 as a whole this year?
I thought it was one of the worst in recent memory. But it's like, of course it would be. Like, Sony wasn't there. And it's kind of like a transitional year where, you know, the new consoles are coming out next year. Oh, speaking of that, we didn't talk about Xbox Scarlet at all, really.
I don't really know what there is to talk about.
Yeah, like they mentioned...
and teraflops and...
Exactly, yeah.
And
8K.
CPUs.
Even though most people don't even have 4K yet. We're talking about fucking 8K. Although, you know, Sony did do the same thing. But, yeah, like they also mentioned 120 hertz, which is another thing nobody has. Like, there are very, very few TVs on the market that can do 120 hertz. And for good reason, because it's like I've played games at 144 hertz, and it's just not necessary. Like 60 frames per second is plenty, and so I don't know. I just feel like it's silly for them to even talk about 120 frames per second when I doubt any games will even support it. But they talked about it, so whatever. But yeah, other than that, there have been rumors about the new Xbox. From multiple sources, but apparently developers working on that in the PS5 are saying that the PS5 is more powerful.
Yeah,
like I would buy the PS5 either way, just because the exclusive games, but it is, you know, nice to know if that's true.
Hey, hold still.
It does feel better when you're buying a new console and it happens to be the more powerful one. That's how I felt about PS4. But at the same time, I bought PS4 Pro despite knowing that it isn't the more powerful console.
I'll be right back.
But again, exclusives. I cared a lot more about those than playing a couple of multi-platform games at a slightly higher resolution.
Right.
Like, to me, 1800p looks almost identical to 4K. Even 1600p can look identical, so yeah, to me it's not like a huge deal. Especially now that we're getting into the next generation where that's about where games will be. They'll be like above 1080p, and it's like, as long as it's above 1080p, I'm happy. Like, I do love it when games are like close to 4K. They do look a lot sharper and stuff, but it's the only time it really bothers me is when they're like below 1080p. Because then yeah, they just look a little less polished and more blurry and stuff. And so yeah, either way, I think you're gonna be fine no matter what console you get next generation. Like, fucking anything above 1080p to me is typically good enough, especially since a lot of games are using temporal anti-aliasing, which basically cleans up the same issues that higher resolution does, which is aliasing and shimmering and stuff, and you can achieve the same coverage and polishing of that stuff that with temporal AA as you can with higher resolution. So I think no matter what console you get, you're gonna have an awesome looking games and probably a great experience. But I do think that PS5 will have a little better experience just because of the exclusive games.
I mean, Microsoft's been buying up all these studios, but we don't entirely know what they're doing. Psychonauts 2 from Double Fine is going to be multi-platform still. But whatever they do after that is going to be Microsoft exclusive, but who knows. The Outer Worlds was
Multi-platform
because of previous deals, so that's still going to be a thing. We don't know what Obsidian's going to do next. Whatever Ninja Theory is doing with its hero shooter thing is whatever. We'll see. I mean, Microsoft really has only, I wouldn't say they've hit rock bottom, but they, for the most part, can only do better with their games and exclusives and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think it'll be a while before they can compete, like with the quality or even the quantity.
I honestly don't think they can. They don't have a They don't have a Naughty Dog. They don't have
like, I think if they ever do, it would probably still be at like 10 years, like from now.
Yeah, it would take a very long time.
Yeah.
Because arguably some of the best quality games that they've had on their system have been
second party or third party, yeah.
Bungie making the first 3 Halo games.
Oh yeah.
Epic made the first few Gears of War games.
Yep. What else you got for me?
The Forza games were whatever the studio is wasn't owned by Microsoft until pretty recently.
Well, just Horizon, like Turn 10 is owned, but Horizon they make Playground Games makes the Horizon games, and then they bought them recently. And I mean, actually, those are really the best exclusives they have these days. It's the Horizon games, like they're consistently good. So like yeah, I thought that they were already owned by Xbox, but yeah, no, that was a smart move for them to like really lock them down. But yeah, like they just not quite there in the exclusive department. But I think it's good that they're at least trying now. Like I think Phil Spencer is the reason that's happening, and yeah, he's a smart dude. Like he's definitely making Xbox great again. Although I'm not sure it was ever that great, but it's just like it's a hell of a lot better than it was when Don Matrick was around with his like, you know, always online shit and all that.
You want an offline Xbox, play 360.
Yep. It's fucking such shitty thing to say, but yeah. But yeah, like
pretty disappointing year overall. Microsoft or Nintendo killed it because
where do I find Brecken?
they have a current console.
Yeah, they had a decent amount of stuff.
It was theirs to lose, and they didn't.
Might have
Microsoft
prematurely announced Zelda a little bit, but maybe not, because they are reusing Hyrule, so maybe it's not that far away.
If it's next year or the March after, that would be fucking incredible. Since the turnaround for Zelda games is usually just awful.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For console Zelda games, at least. The handheld Zelda games are usually really good and get announced quickly and released quickly. It's almost shocking when that happens. The last couple handheld Zelda games have been like that, but the last couple console Zelda games are just constantly delayed. I think Wind Waker was more or less on time. Twilight Princess was delayed.
What are you waiting for? Get over here.
Skyward Sword was delayed. Breath of the Wild was delayed.
Yeah, like it seems like that's a common thing. with the Zelda. I mean, they are huge games, so it's understandable. Like, a lot of games in general get delayed these days. But, you know, with them reusing Hyrule, like, who knows, it might be ready a little faster than we thought. I mean, Death Stranding, at least in my opinion, is supposedly going to be ready way faster than I expected.
Was giving it another year at least.
Yeah.
Solid, but the fact that it's this year after only 3 years is pretty spectacular, even if they were using Gorilla's engine.
Yeah. And what an engine it is. But, fucking, what's it called? Yeah, I don't know. I think we've sort of covered it, I guess. Like, fucking,
First things first,
not the best E3,
learn how to run.
but kind of
What do you
expected.
mean, learn how to run?
But, I don't know, do you think Sony will be there next year?
Now,
Are you kidding me? Of
jump down to the very bottom.
course they will. With the PS5.
Yep.
Next year's gonna be super exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
Don't
I
be a
mean,
wimp.
everything this year is either
Come on, you can't be serious.
early fall
Watch this.
to mid-fall, like September, October. Seem to be the big months. Pokemon is November.
Jesus, don't move!
Call of Duty is November.
I was
But
just
most
fucking
games seem
with
to be
you.
October or September.
What?
Mhm.
And then
Can't take a joke?
everything is
Come
next
on,
March.
get your
Watch
ass down
Dogs,
here.
Christ on
Cyberpunk,
a
Final
crutch.
Fantasy,
Possibly The Last of Us.
Animal Crossing. I mean, it's
Holy shit!
ridiculous
Holy
how
shit!
many games are coming out
It's a
in
rush, isn't it?
mid-March.
But don't
And I
worry
mean,
about
that's
it just yet.
very purposeful because you
I've got
have
some typical.
all that hype, all that excitement, and then it's probably all gonna go away and people are gonna stop buying as much shit while saving up for new consoles that are gonna come a few months after E3 next year. But I'm excited to see what's going on. I'm excited to see.
Slow down once you start running. Outside, if you stop,
Makes me wonder if Cyberpunk will be upscaled and released as a PS5 game, for example. I mean, it has to be. There's no way they wouldn't do that. I know things are going to be backwards compatible, but still, just native 4K 60 FPS kind of gameplay. I'm sure we're going to see some of that, some cross-gen games. We're going to see the rumored Assassin's Creed Vikings, which will be fucking awesome. Obviously, all
and don't fall, because there's sure as hell
possibly Last of Us on PS5. I wonder if that's the case, since it's being delayed over and over again and pushed back, and
Yeah, I
other
kinda
things
think
have taken
so.
its place. I mean, we still have Ghost of Tsushima too. I have no idea about that game.
Yeah, I think that'll probably come out next year. But hopefully, there's like more PS5 support than there has been for like Xbox One X and PS4 Pro. Like, because I think what'll happen is like maybe there'll be PS5 versions released with like, you know, that you won't have to download any patches, but it should be so that like with the PS4 versions, that's all you'll need is a patch.
Good job.
Yeah, I hope that's the way everyone does things, but you never know.
Get back to the crate. Make use of anything and
It'll,
everything while you
it'll
run.
be weird and middling for a few years,
Yeah,
like it was with PS3 to PS4 before people fully embraced the jump.
definitely. Like, I expect something like Cyberpunk will definitely support PS5 fully, and The Last of Us 2, and Ghost of Tsushima, stuff like, and Death Stranding probably, but I'm not expecting to see, like, patches for much older, like, PS4 games, or, like, kind of lower budget stuff, where they don't really have the resources to, like, make a patch to make it fully use the PS5 and Xbox 2.
Track in high school.
The extra horsepower that those have.
Never seen anything like it.
Right.
But yeah, fucking. Though we were a couple weeks too late, or late.
To me. What's going on?
Never too late, but yeah,
Something went wrong.
we covered it. E3. It's fun, interesting, but not the best year. Hopefully, well, definitely next year will be better. Fucking, but anyways, peace out, YouTube and Twitch. Have a good night.